Hey, how you doing? Welcome to the VFL and the weekly recap. Week 4 is what we're talking about here. And I'm your host, as per usual, John. So another week is done. Another week of fantasy football is behind us. 4 weeks in. And if you like to pull out the calculator and you know that there's 14 weeks in the regular season of fantasy, you know that we're only 28.57142857142857% of the way through our fantasy football season. So a little over of a quarter of the way through. And there's plenty going on. There's plenty of things that, you might be happy about with your team. You might be pissed off about your team. You've had some lucky breaks. You've had some bad breaks. But the nice thing is, again, we're only 28.5741 whatever way through the regular season. So there's plenty of football to be played. There's plenty of managerial decisions that need to occur for you and your team. The teams that have been playing well, you have to sustain that success. The teams that have been playing average, you just need a couple breaks. And the teams that have been subpar, you just need to manage your teams a little bit better and or make the correct decisions. And there's plenty of time to do that. And that's what makes this so much fun. The top 6 teams out of this 12-team league make the playoffs. Okay, that's half the league. So you got plenty of time. Now, I know what you're thinking to yourself. You're thinking, John, you're in another hotel room. Where the fuck you at this time? Spokane, Washington, ladies and gentlemen. And apparently there's gnats everywhere outside. I mean, you wear your face mask, at least where I'm working inside. I still have to wear my face mask. You walk outside, you just keep it on, because if you're not, you're swallowing gnats. I was asking some people about it. I'm like, is this a normal thing for Spokane, Washington? They're like, no, we just had the last major hatch of the year. I'm so glad I live in Arizona and I don't have to deal with hatches of the year and things of that nature. So on that note, let's go ahead and let's get into week 4 results before we preview the game of the week for week 5. I realized I didn't do this last week. Let's just bring up the scores. So let's just start by bringing up last week's game of the week. And that was myself, the Lead Farmers, taking on the Big Waller brand. And that was a win of 132 to 105. So I lucked out in playing Brad and his team, as they had one of his worst weeks, if not his worst week overall, thus far this season. You have Chubb City losing to TB12 and the Legends of 8 Rings, 111 to 87. We'll talk about Chubb City here in a little bit. 2 more injuries for that team. 5 total injuries now. Just cannot stop getting injured. You have Dicka's Bastards losing to True Blue 157 to 102, dropping to 1-3 for Dicka's Bastards and 2-2 for True Blue. So it's nice to see True Blue not only playing this year, but see what happens when you play? Success. That's what happens. You have Beat by a Girlie stomping again, 4-0 now, as Chelsea's team defeated Quit Playing With Your Peckler 139. And Peckler finally had a breakout performance from the namesake of the team, Austin Eckler, who had, I believe, 32 total points on Monday Night Football. It didn't matter. 1-3 for the Pecklers. Next up, Thwomp loses by 1 point to cruising to last. Both teams are now 2-2, 168 to 167. Ugh, it's tough. It's a tough way to lose. We'll talk about that here momentarily. And last but not least, Sacks in the City, and I don't know why I don't have the score there, beats the Diamond Dogs. If I look up real quick what the score was, just for point of reference, week 4, Diamond Dogs, Sacks in the Cities, 156 for the Sacks, 147 for the Dogs. So a 9-point victory for the Sacks. So I think without further ado, it's time to go ahead and start dishing those awards out, because that's what I do.
The Big Dick Award for the team that scores the most points in a week.
And it's the second straight week that Beat by a Girlie wins this award, scoring that 179 total points. That's averaging now 170 points a week. Can anyone stop Chelsea's team? She's 4-0. She's kicking the shit out of the competition. Rob Gronkowski goes down for her team. And, she puts in Jared Cook, who somebody dropped, had a touchdown, bunch of receptions last night. And the beat by a girly team is going to go up against the big Waller brand in week 5. So we shall see. And one of the reasons why that beat by the girly just whooped some ass this week, well, it's because she had
The Mike Tyson Award for the team with the player who scored the most points this week.
and that would be Tyreek Hill for beat by a girly. Tyreek Hill, a human cheat code. This guy is 51 fucking points. 51. I mean, we had a team score, 87, 89, somewhere in there, 87 points this week. Tyreek Hill had 51 alone, 3 touchdowns. And I got to tell you, like, when it comes to DraftKings and you look at the player props and you look at like the overs and the unders, it's like, will Tyreek Hill score a touchdown? Negative 120. It's like, fucking take that every time. The guy is just unstoppable. Like, I don't know why I don't bet on Tyreek Hill. And the funny thing is, if you bet on Travis Kelce this week, he had 3 receptions for 20 yards or something. But Tyreek Hill just doesn't disappoint. Doesn't disappoint.
The Little Bitch Award for the team that played like a little bitch and scored the least amount of points.
Ah, yes. This one's unfortunate. This one goes out to Chubb City. Chubb City. 87 points. Now 2-2. And as I mentioned, it's the second time that she has received this award. And if you get it 3 times, your face is on the award instead of Cam Newton. So you gotta watch out for that. But I mean, injuries have just wreaked havoc on Chubb's team. Lost DJ Chark for the season with a broken ankle on Thursday night. So that's a great start to your week. Logan Thomas gets injured early in his game as well. Another 0 points. And, it might be time for Chubb City to start coming up with new team names, the injured reserve, the injured list, emergency, the metal, Red Cross, something, because unfortunately, Chubb City's just living in that world of being a little bitch. And for that, I'm sorry, Shannon, but you know what? Your team is just, this is where you just got to manage the shit out of it. Just got to start making trades. Start making trades. That's what I recommend.
The Bullshit Award for the team who had to deal with a little bit of bullshit.
I'm going to give this one again to Thwomp. Back-to-back weeks for Thwomp. Last week, there's only, I think, 1 or 2 other teams that could have beat him. He scored 167 points this week and lost. And what's funny is Thwomp is currently leading the league in total points, more than beat by a girly, and is 2-2 because of that. And, it's just, you got to give credit to Cruising for Last. He was down big in the afternoon games on Sunday. Deebo Samuel scores a monster 41 points in that Sunday afternoon slot. Robert Woods scores a meaningless touchdown at the end of the Rams-Cardinals game. If you're watching the Cardinals game, you didn't care. Robert Woods didn't care. He got the touchdown, just threw the ball to the ref because he knew it didn't mean shit. But you know what? It wasn't meaningless to Cruising to Last. And then Cruising to Last wins on the last possession for the Pittsburgh Steelers when they're already down. They're down 10 points. They're not going to win. And just a little dump-off pass from Ben Roethlisberger to Najee Harris. That's the 1 point that cost Thwomp at least a tie, but ultimately cost him a victory. So it's a little bit of bullshit you had to deal with there, Pauletto. And for that, I'm sorry.
The Brass Balls Award for the ballsiest decision of the week.
So this one I'm going to give to the Diamond Dogs. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I'm supposed to be like pulling up fucking like boom. There you go. This one goes to the Diamond Dogs, the Bullshit Award. And, this should have been the put me in coach for the decision that the Diamond Dogs made, but he's won the put me in coach award back-to-back weeks. I didn't want to go back-to-back-to-back. So it took brass balls for Diamond Dogs to start Justin Fields again over Ryan Tannehill. And he loses by 9 points. Tannehill outscores Fields by 10 points. It's the same story every week for the Diamond Dogs. Unfortunately, the only team that's winless in our entire league it's not because his team's bad. It's because he just keeps making that one wrong decision that costs him a win. Every week he could have won, but every week he started the wrong team or the wrong player. So he gets that award. What was it? The Brass Balls Award. That goes out to you.
The 4-Leaf Clover Award for the team that got luckiest this week.
So, I do want to give a shout out to Cruising to Last. I mean, yeah, you got a little lucky there. But when he scored 161 or 168 points, I don't know if that's luck. So I'm not going to really throw it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and give this to TB12 and the Legend 8 rings. And that's because he scored 111 points this week. He's on the opposite spectrum of this. He played one of only 3 teams that he could have beat. Chubb Cities, Discus Bastards, or Big Waller Brand all scored less than TB12. But TB12, because of the matchup, went ahead and won this game. So, again, this is just a reminder to everybody, on both sides of the spectrum, to the Diamond Dogs who are 0-4, it's like you're that close. You keep making the right decisions, you keep making the right acquisitions, and you keep just hoping that you start the right guy. Oh, excuse me, the right guys. In a long enough timeline, which 14 weeks is a plenty long enough timeline, things should correct themselves. So that's all I got to say about that. Let's see here.
The Put Me In Coach Award for the team that sat the wrong player.
Put Me In Coach Award. I'm going to also give this one to TB12 just because Cordell Patterson went absolutely apeshit on the bench. I can empathize with that because I have him in another league. But you know what? It didn't cost you anything. But 34 points sitting on the bench, I mean, that does hurt your overall point total. So you got to be careful there. You got to start Cordell Patterson, it appears.
The Projections Award for the team that looked at what NFL.com predicted they would do this week and replied,
This one goes out to Sax and the City. Sax and the City is kicking ass and taking names right now. 3-1 overall. And on her squad, she has a guy who is unbelievably fast. And I don't know why they only projected this guy to have 15 points, but that's DJ Moore. He ended up dropping 35. And I'll tell you what, he is looking fast. He's looking great. He's one of those guys who I wish I had an opportunity to trade with you at the beginning of the season, Sax in the City, because he looks like he's going to whoop some ass this year. But, him and Sax just looked at the projections and just said, fuck you. That's not right. So last couple of awards we're going to dish out this week before we get into the game of the week.
The Shit Streak Award for the team that's on a shitty streak.
Doesn't get old. Diamond Dogs 0-4. I mean, that one's just too easy. You lose 3 in a row, you're on a shitty streak. You lose 4 in a row, like that just kind of sucks. And of course, on the other side of that,
the Headed to the Quad Award for the team that is
Freaky! Yeah!
So this is Beat by a Girly, currently 4-0, kicking ass and taking names, and the Lead Farmers as well. Both are 4-0, entering week 5. And as we enter week 5, we got some good games. It was kind of hard to choose which one would be the game of the week, but
the game of the week.
Now I'm playing the Chubb City. I'm playing the Misses this week, which is going to be painful because she's going to tell me to start shitty players and let her win and whatnot, and I won't do it because I'm competitive. But that's not the game of the week. The game of the week's got to be Thwomp versus Sax in the City. Again, as I mentioned earlier, Thwomp is leading the league in total points, has had 2 consecutive unlucky breaks, and Sax and City's team is firing on all cylinders as well. So this is definitely going to be the game that, as I'm sitting at home watching football on Sunday, I'm going to be taking a look at this one and just seeing how it plays out, because these are 2 quality teams going at each other. So on that note, I mean, this is going to be a quick one because no one decided to come on with me, but I'm okay with it. I'm kind of tired. I've been working hard all week. Who knows where I'll be next week, guys? I don't even know at this point. I'm living my life on the road. But again, thank you everybody who's been playing. It's been a fun league so far. It's easy for me to say that because I'm 4-0. I'm not really frustrated. In fact, I'm in 5 different fantasy leagues and I won all 5 games this week. It was a good weekend for fantasy football, and I won some money on DraftKings as well. But remember, get those waiver wires transactions in, spend all that fab so that you have none left, so I can get whoever I want at the end of the year. And on that note, I'll see you next week. Cheers, fuckface. Meh.